Missouri's minimum car insurance coverage of $25,000 per person looks reasonable until you actually need it. With a 16% uninsured driver rate and some of the most active tornado and hail seasons in the country, that minimum coverage is going to leave you exposed. In my agency, I see this exact problem every week with clients moving into Kansas City or St. Louis. By the end of this, you'll understand Missouri's actual insurance requirements, why the state minimum isn't enough protection, and what real drivers in Kansas City and St. Louis are actually paying for coverage that works. Missouri law requires 25,000 in bodily injury per person, 50,000 per accident, and 25 in property damage. It also requires uninsured motorist coverage, 25,000 per person, 50,000 per accident. That's the legal floor. But here's the problem. Missouri uses pure comparative fault, which means even if the other driver is mostly at fault, they can still come after you for your portion of the damages. Your liability coverage needs to handle that. What Missouri's minimums don't tell you is that this state sits directly in the hail belt. Kansas City and St. Louis each see 3 to 8 significant hail events per year. Then there's tornado season. The Missouri River Valley gets hammered, and flooding from extreme rain is routine across most of the state. All of that damage is covered by comprehensive insurance, which is not required by law. So you can legally drive in Missouri without any protection against hail, tornadoes, or flooding. Kansas City drivers with full coverage are looking at $1,800 to $2,400 a year. St. Louis is similar, sometimes a bit higher depending on zip code, up to $2,600 in some areas. Rural Missouri runs cheaper, maybe $1,100 to $1,400, but deer collisions are a major risk out there, so you still need comprehensive. The storm exposure exists everywhere in this state. That 16% uninsured driver rate means 1 in 6 drivers on the road has no insurance. Missouri requires uninsured motorist coverage, but most people stick with the state minimum. If you get hit by an uninsured driver and have only 25,000 in you coverage and your injuries are serious, you're short, I recommend matching your uninsured motorist limits to your liability limits. If you carry 100,000 in liability, carry 100,000 in UM. The extra premium is usually $30 or $40 a year. The protection difference is huge. Here's what I see go wrong all the time. Someone moves to Kansas City or St. Louis, gets a cheap policy with minimum coverage to save a few bucks and doesn't add comprehensive. Then hail season hits and they're staring at $8,000 in windshield and roof damage with nothing to pay for it. Or they get T-boned at an intersection. The other driver has minimal coverage and their own uninsured motorist limit isn't enough. The savings on that cheap policy disappear real fast. If you're in Missouri or thinking about moving there, call us right now at 7